Welcome, John and Susan Campbell, newly initiated members of the 3X Club. So, well, why don't you, I know I've had you speak at other events as well, but we have a lot of people who haven't met you before. So, tell us who you are, where you're from, how we met, when we met, and what's happened since.
So we met you around 2019 at the South Jersey area meetup. You spoke at 4 or 5 locations, I think, while you were there that week. I think we were at all of them. And we knew we were coming. We travel anyhow. We hit meetings. Every time there's a meeting, we're there, pretty much, you know. And if we're not at one, it's because there's a conflict with another one. It's just kind of our lifestyle at this point. And so, yeah, no, we liked what you presented, how you presented it. You know, just like you know, you treat everybody like, you know, you build a nice family culture. We felt that right from the beginning, and we said we're in. We want to be part of, you know, your circle.
January 2020.
This was like 19.
Was
you know,
19?
it's like just, yeah, I think it was like right before.
Right before you know what, yeah.
Yeah, the monster.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And what happened?
So, yeah, I mean, we've been part of other real estate groups. We've spent a lot more money to be part of those. And we got some of the things we needed, but it wasn't, like we didn't get all the ingredients at once, right? Like, okay, you can do this, you can do this. You know, we kind of got an introduction, but we got the how-to from you, you know? And then, you know, so I would say it's like, we found it's like cooking, you know? So anybody likes to cook, you get a recipe, you know? Not everything turns out the way you expect it to, you know? You get the same dish at different restaurants, it's all different. But in the end, as long as you get something that is close to what you were expecting, it's a win. And so the same thing here, you're not gonna do everything right when you're doing it, but as long as you get to the goal, who cares?
Gotcha.
So that was kind of what helped, you know, us, you know, was you connected all the dots, we got all the pieces, we got the recipe, and then it was up to us to implement, you know, you know, it's been said, you never really fail. You just find different ways to get it done. You learn different lessons. You know, you figure out, okay, I did it this way. How can I do it better and faster? You know, those kinds of things. So, and you instilled the confidence and the belief in us
that we could do it.
Yeah, I mean, proof of concept's right here in this room. You know, we saw Godfrey many times. Now we know him in person. You know. I think that's the big thing for people. Is, you know, just the belief, you know, getting your mindset right, and then just taking action. And you really, you know, you created that belief in us, you know, through, you know, the monthly phone calls. And, you know, just like it was mentioned earlier, you know, if you reach out for Tom and Carolina, email, text message, phone call, whatever, you know, you get a response right back, you know, within a couple hours. You know, I almost know I know Tom's sleeping in the morning, you know, what have you. But I know, like, I'm like 7, 8 o'clock at night, I'm getting a response, you know. And you guys cheer harder for us, I think, than we do ourselves. And that's important, you know.
What did you have to deal with at the beginning, Susan? Like, what was some of the, you had, like, hang-ups, stop-starts, blocks that you had that once those got released?
I think one of the biggest things, like we were fixing and flipping before we got into wholesale, and just the way you taught us, we implemented everything after we left the class, and we ended up getting like 3 deals right off the bat just by doing what you told us to do. As long as you take action, you're going to be fine. But if you don't do anything, you're not going to get anything. And I think it was just amazing once we did it, they just started coming in. Yeah, it was simple. You made it very simple to understand and just do it.
We left the implementation boot camp. We started our marketing, and within 60 days, we closed $50,000 in assignments. I remember we were sitting in the pool, we missed the phone calls, and we were just kind of hanging out. And I'm like, I got a couple voicemails here, and had some people to call back, and you know, we got $50,000 in deals out of that. And we're like, wow, this shit works. You know? And believe me, we're not splitting atoms. So, and you know, the other thing I think is people get bogged down with the details. And you know, we were there, you know, over the last couple of years now. We figured out, like, you don't need to know all the details. The details are going to slow you down. But getting in rooms like this, getting around other people, people that have already done what you're trying to do, cuts down on the time frame. Bringing people in on your team that can bring the details. I don't need to know all the details. I have an attorney that helps me with, the legal paperwork. We have our title company is great. Those people will make your life simple. All we really focus on now is the marketing. Making connections. Like I said, these rooms are our family now. We'll, no lie, 4 or 5 days a week. We're at meetings. We look forward to them. We do what we want during the day pretty much, and we hit meetings at night. I woke up last Monday and I said to Susan, is it Saturday? Because Friday night we're at a meeting, Saturday we're at a meeting, Sunday we're at but like Saturday night was dinner with some friends that are in real estate, and we just talked about, deals and, what can we do and how can we help each other, and, that's the main thing. Collaboration has really helped us a lot too. Okay. When we met last and we talked, were we at DC? Yeah. We were just shifting our marketing, and so we shut everything down that we were doing, and we were revamping it. And so there was a little bit of a lull because we were phasing things out. And just because of these groups, we helped other new wholesalers move their deals. I mean, we were able to close $46,000 in assignments for us, but more importantly, we were able to help them get their deals done too. They couldn't move and they weren't making any money. Yeah. So yeah, we create, we would say like create win-wins for everybody. Make sure that everybody gets paid, and you just keep it going.
You still for 46 grand
right.
from helping others get paid.
Yeah.
That's nice that way. You guys brought your sons into the business, who were at this event last year about this time. What's it like having the family together, Susan? For better or worse.
You want the good, the bad.
It's nice having the kids on board, and this way they don't have jobs, like they just do real estate full time. It does get a little heated sometimes.
We don't like each other every day, but we don't always like each other, I should say. But no, it always ends on a good note.
Yeah.
How old are the boys now?
John's 27 and Zach's 24.
And I remember they quit their jobs, right? They were working. What was it that they?
John graduated with his
civil engineer degree from the Citadel, and Zach was in the Army, and he's done with the Army now. So
they're amazing. I love their brand. They are the guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
TV commercials, everything.
They're becoming real estate assassins, really already. And I say I can, but every room we go into, and I always say I know they're doing what they're supposed to be doing because. When we show up at events in South Carolina and they say, oh, you're John and Zach's parents, you have the best boys, they've helped us with so much. And so, that's the kind of feedback. I always told them when they were young, if, nobody's going to come out and say your kids are little bastards or what have you. You know what I mean? But I said, if they're not telling me how good you're doing, then they're saying you're little bastards.
Make mommy John proud or else. Now, so you guys are operating primarily in Jersey, or were, and the boys are down in South Carolina. So you have a Charleston, South Carolina. So you've got, you built business up into 2 areas. And what's that been like?
So actually now we're doing a lot of stuff virtually. They pretty much, Zach handles all of our acquisitions, and John handles all the dispositions, and and then I kind of we have our daily calls. We used to do in the morning, and it kind of didn't always set the tone right for the day, so we wrap up with that, and then we figure out what we're going to do better and move on into the next morning. So
interesting. Finishing the day with a wrap-up call is working out better for you than a planning call.
Yeah, because if things don't go so well in the morning, we just start calling each other out or what have you a little bit, like, well, maybe we do, then it kind of ruins the day. So we get through the day, and then you got some time to think about it, and you listen. Everybody, they criticize me as much as critique, I should say. Like, hey, maybe you could have said this, or you could have done this, or what have you. So. Gives you the rest of the night, and they'll call back and say, hey, yeah, no, we thought about our conversation. So we work great that way. And the other thing I said is, we have so many friends now that are building teams with people other than their family. And, they build a team and they get taken off, things are going well. And then, they leave because now they're all trained up, going to start their own business. Yeah. We're building a legacy. And sometimes I say, look, if you guys mess this up, it's your legacy, you know.
Your
At the end of the day, it's what you got, you know.
Don't screw around.
And it's not really that bad, but you know, those are the heart-to-heart conversations. Like, hey, you know. But yeah, no, it's going good. Learning every day, and like I said, we just revamped all of our marketing. We went with a new company. We have a CRM now that will integrate all of our TV commercials. We'll know, who's calling, what number they're calling on, what channel, the commercial was being shown on, and now what time. So we're getting really
Granular.
deep. Yeah, we're really getting deep into the KPIs. Because we're looking to scale. I mean, we're on track to do 7 figures this year.
Nice.
Hopefully, multiple 7 figures,
Nice.
and hopefully we can 3x that.
Yeah, well, good. Fine, we'll roll out on our next club, but help me inaugurate.
The nice thing is you can build whatever you want to build. You know what I mean? Like I have friends that they only do 2 or 3 houses a year. And then their bank account, they'll live off of the income, and then their bank account gets to a certain say, it's time to go find 2 or 3 more houses, And then other people, are kind of running full speed, just looking to build, 8, 9 figure real estate companies. I mean, we don't want any employees. That's not something we're looking for, so we want to just kind of keep it in the family, keep doing what we're doing, being able to manage that. So, that's kind of where we're at.
Is there a secret sauce? Because it sounds like, well, we just started doing it, and then money started rolling in. Well, I mean, so you literally just started doing it, or was there a secret sauce or something out back? Or
There's no secret sauce. Just taking action, implementing. Right? You have to implement. Marketing's the biggest thing.
Like we were at the one meeting and we were leaving from the South Jersey area, and the one girl came over to us. Remember when we were getting in the car? And she says to us, she goes, "This is the car you're driving?" And we said, "Well, yeah." And then we said, "Well, why don't you come look in the car?"
We have a little
We have
Ford
all our
Escape.
bandit signs in there
We have a
with a
little Ford
hammer and nails. And she goes, "Are you kidding me?" And we're like, "No, we do this on our way
11.
home. Like, you got to work it into your schedule."
We drive an hour and a half to meetings, 2 hours. So on the way back,
put up.
the road, it's nice and dark out, and we just hammer up.
I drive and he hammers them.
They call them bandit signs for a reason.
One of your bandit signs fell down in Wildwood. My brother picked it up and attached it.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Your signs get respect.
That's right. We got to go back and fix them, but yeah. So
But we still do a lot of this stuff that you told us to do before we started having money come in, because
yeah.
we were allocating it for other things. So.
I mean, the same thing works. It doesn't just because you scale and you're looking to get to the next level. You just implement more things, but stick with the basics too. Like, don't give that up. I mean, shit, we got $50,000 on bandit signs, and a 130 letter direct mail campaign, that we sent 5 times.
Yeah.
And like our son, he was driving to the beach, Folly Beach, and like we were telling the kids, like, look around when you go places. He ended up getting a house under contract, and he settled for $27,000 just by the contract.
Driving to the beach. I think he did a video how he made,
Driving for deals is huge, and everyone's driving pretty much every day. You're going somewhere.
Yeah.
You say, but so keep that antenna up.
Well, and the other thing is too, like we have electric bikes, so a lot of times we don't even drive in the car. We get on the electric bikes.
Biking for deals.
And then, and seriously, like
take
we'll
pictures.
stop and we'll take pictures of the house. I'll put it in the phone, and like so that's stuff you can get your exercise in while you're making money.
It's funny
just
too,
being
like
creative.
how that same house looks different being on a bicycle as opposed to in a car. You know what I mean? Just it opens. You see a lot more things. You pick up the neighborhood a little bit more, the yards. You can circle around, and so there's just little things that we've done that everybody does anyhow. And sometimes you just take it for granted, or say, "Oh, we'll do that tomorrow," and just do it today. So yeah, we're just really at this point looking, for, you have outbound marketing and inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is much more fun than the outbound stuff, because those leads, when the phone's ringing, they're looking to sell their house. You're not, going through, calls and call after call, trying to get somebody to sell their house. But, and so, yeah, we're trying to focus really more on our inbound stuff. We're going to start a new TV commercial, that's going to integrate, What else do we have going? Pay-per-click. We're doing the whole state of South Carolina and the whole state of New Jersey now, as opposed to we were focused on the lower counties near us and Charleston County. Now we're doing the whole state. And because of groups like this, people all over the country, we had a deal in Arkansas that we didn't have any clue. What do we do? How do we do it? And but we knew because we were at different events, and we knew we had a contact in Arkansas. We reached out to him. He said, I know exactly where that is. We call, he's like, here, let me, send me the details. We sent it to him. He had a buyer. We closed it out. And that was something that, early on, if we didn't know how to do it, we just let it die. And then I'm like, when it gets tough to get deal flow sometimes, when the markets are shifting or what have you, you don't want to throw anything away. That's money in your pocket. So it's like, how can I capitalize on this? How can we create win-win situations for everyone? And who do we know in that area that can help us? So that's really, we've been focusing more on this year is who, not how, who can help us. That's been, the big thing. And so we try every day to get around more people, build our circle, with us helping other people helping us. And really, if there's a secret sauce, that's the sauce. The people have the knowledge, like there's strength in numbers. If you want to be successful, don't do it by yourself. Collaboration is key. And that was the one thing that I had to really, because my sons are young, they were like, no, we got to do this. And they've learned now that, the more people you help, the more money comes back. So.
Sean, what was the first mailing that you did? You said 130, you did it like 5 times. What was the first? What type of mailing was it?
They were absentee owners, right?
Yeah, we do absentee, out-of-state owners is the main.
Gosh, we've heard that before.
That we hit that all the time.
Follow what he said.
Yeah, and probate is number 2 for us. We like those the best, and usually that stacks, right? So you get an absentee out-of-state owner is for us because we're near the shore. It's typically probate associated with it. It was funny because one of the deals we actually flipped it. The guy had passed and he was a couple months shy of his 100th birthday, and so we were dealing with the kids. Kids were 77, 78. And one of them lived in North Carolina. The other one the closest one was Philadelphia, and they said, look, we can't move furniture. We're not doing any of this stuff. So we said, get what you want out of there, and we'll take care of the rest. And so she called me. She said, we got everything. Here's the keys. So I called the boys. We went over, and we moved all the furniture out. We did a sidewalk sale, and we just started moving it, emptied the house out, and got to work on the renovations.
Nice. Stan.
John, I got a question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it as brief as possible.
No, it's fine.
Yesterday when we were chatting, you had mentioned that your ad was running in tandem with some other competitors back to back. And somewhere in the conversation, I believe you said that you found out one of your sons, I guess, had talked to somebody from that company and mentioned that, wow, we're losing a lot of deals to you guys or whatever. Here's my question. What do you think you were doing differently to make you get those deals? Was there anything special that you were doing that pushed those people towards your, instead of your competitor?
So my son handles, Zach handles all the acquisitions, and so he's very good at connecting with people. So I like to think his negotiations. So maybe the numbers.
And he answers right away too.
Yeah, he doesn't miss a phone. That was a lesson he learned. He missed a couple calls, and then by the time, when you have inbound marketing, those people are so motivated that if you miss the call, they're not waiting for you to call. They're calling the next person. And so when he finally got them back on the phone, they'd already sold the deal to the person they were probably talking to when he couldn't get through to them. So he lives with his phone. And so, that was one of the reasons we switched our marketing company too, is we're paying a management fee for these companies to, they're supposed to be measuring, when you're commercials running and to what audience and what have you. And we found out they really weren't managing it. They were running our commercial, and then they were running a competitor in the same market who we're actually friends with, and it worked out. He said, I'm showing up on these properties, you guys are already there, so he felt like he was wasting his money. So it was like, how do we turn this into a win-win? We just started collaborating on them and splitting the deals, So that was another way to do it,
You said that you did mail outs.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I tried one, but where do you get your lists? How do you get your list?
So right now we're using batch leads, we use PropStream, and you go in. Yep, batch leads is batch leads. PropStream, they have tools in there where you can, target certain zip codes, and then you can filter it down. What are you looking for? High equity,
absentee owner.
Right, vacant, all the stuff we're talking about. You can filter that down. You can stack it, and typically we'll stack it because we still, one of the other things I met with a guy and people often don't think about is they were spending, $10,000 for a mailing campaign, and it was great. They were like, just like a shotgun blast putting it out there, but they weren't equipped to take the calls when they were coming in. So they were losing a lot of calls. So they said, we're just throwing money out there that, so we keep our list small. We try to do about 150, very targeted, and we'll run that, like I said, 5 times. We can typically get 2 to 3 deals out of that. And, and then we just go on to the next one.
But certain areas with mailing, like I know in Charleston, South Carolina, the mailing doesn't work down there. We haven't gotten any responses on any of the mailing. Even like with the foreclosures and all, the data is so outdated by years, a couple years, because they didn't update everything. So we end up doing different marketing down there. Like Jersey, the mailers work for us there.
Yeah, different types of marketing works in different areas better.
For your inbound marketing technique, do you also use Facebook?
We do that. Yep, my son targets
sons
that.
do that.
Yeah, he handles all that. We do. We know what they're doing. We don't know the specifics all the time, but they handle that part. But yeah, we do the Facebook ads. And the company we're using also helps us. They're doing our pay-per-click stuff, Facebook, advertising for us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Google Ads.
Yeah, Google Ads. Yep.
Do you have a company that does the mailings for you?
So the company we just switched to will do the mailings for us. We haven't used them for that part yet. We're still kind of integrating that. So we're still doing our own, mailers, but we're going to switch and just have them do it.
So
They can
you actually mail them out yourself?
They'll actually, we do right now. Okay. Yep, we take it so we put my mother-in-law to work too. She helps, and so she writes the letters, she addresses the envelope, she takes them to the post office. She's good friends with the postmaster, He knows when she's coming,
She gets paid well.
Once we switch that, the company that we have now it'll be cheaper for us too, because they get a bulk rate postage, but we're still integrating that.
You doing first class?
Do you do postcards too, or just letters?
We've done postcards. We do mostly letters, but we send postcards. So we'll do that to like a zip code. That kind of goes to our direct mail, so we haven't dialed that in that specific. One of the things is like a letter is in an envelope, so the person that opens it is the one that sees the message. The postcard, you got your letter carriers see it. There's so many sets of eyes on it, I guess, as it moves around that all you gotta do is take a picture of it. So I don't know, maybe you get more, but yeah, that's the plus to that. RJ?
Yeah, what is your frequency of, I heard 5.
Yep, so
What's your total, but
we'll do it.
The sanitizing of the ones that come back, delivery unknown, that sort of thing. How do you sanitize that?
We haven't had any problems with anything coming back.
Okay.
So I guess the lists we're pulling them from are working for us, yeah. And we'll send them out between, like we focus on 2 to 3 weeks. So this way here, it goes out.
Initial one goes out.
2 to 3 weeks later, you're gonna get another one.
You drip it, their second one, 3 weeks out, 3 weeks, do you change it to 2?
It just depends. So it's a window, it depends on what's coming up, but we try to stay, 3 weeks is the goal. Sometimes it's a little bit, so it's between 2 and 3.
So you must have a master calendar depending on what zip codes you're going to?
Yeah, yep,
This week, on Tuesday, they're gonna get it by Thursday, Friday.
yep.
And then you go another 3, hey, we gotta send this batch out again, this calendar.
Yep.
Do you work with a 4-foot by 8-foot screen? Or?
No, we got, yeah, just on a calendar, like we'll say, all right, this first letter went out on this date to this zip code, what have you.
So you have
And then,
letter number 1 and it's marked number 1.
Yep.
Or you might have an identifier so you know.
Yeah,
which
Yep.
letter
yeah, exactly.
went out at that date.
And then we can tell like when the mail arrived to that zip code pretty much, because that day we usually get a call on it. You know, somebody's calling, take us off the list.
Yeah.
We've had that too, you know, like some of the things that slip through the cracks is, you know, when somebody calls and says, hey, I'm not interested, take me off the list. And that slips through the cracks. And we had one guy that was, I told Tom, was, you know, he's pretty pissed. He's like, you know, by letter 3, he's like, I've asked you now twice to take me off the list. You know, letter 4, you know, we still forgot. And I'm like, well, shit.
That's sanitizing. You got to remove that from the list so you're not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yep. So the calls, right. So we're not getting letters back, but we're getting the calls from them saying, hey, you know, take us off the list. So this one particular, I'm like, there's only one more. He might as well just keep it going. So by the 5th letter, by the 5th letter, he said, listen, he goes, I got to say, you know, I'm really sorry. I know I've cursed you out, what have you, but I'm thinking about selling my house now. You know? And so the deal never worked, you know, because we couldn't agree on the numbers. He, you know, he was doing some things, and so, but you know, so we passed on it.
So don't worry
but,
about the sanitization of the. That was. Oh, where do I stop? How do I try?
As long as you're getting it out there.
It's mail. Let them throw it out.
So based on your numbers, you said 2 to 3 deals that you get out of 150. So you're roughly, I'm going to say about a 1.98 rate of return,
Yeah.
percentage-wise.
Yep.
Which is great, which is within the standard median range
Yep.
of a direct mail campaign.
Yep. Exactly.
So you're within range.
Yes.
How do you hit the nerve where that becomes 5 deals, 8, you know? So instead of being 1.9%, it becomes 5% rate of return. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that. I mean, I just know that if you want to get more, then you just, you know, multiply.
You increase your mailings.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's still going to be in the 1.8.
I think so.
So if you get a 1.8% rate of return, let's call it 2%. You're within the standard.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. That's the industry standard.
To append on that, your conversion rate, how does that work?
So we're converting like 3 deals out of that campaign. So it's, what would you say, 1.9%?
Yeah, well, I
No, I know. I'm going to rely on you for the numbers.
Well, that's not a bad conversion.
No, it's good. It's working.
And that's only one avenue, just doing that.
Just
so
one-
we
yeah, one
have,
channel.
we
Different.
have different.
Multiple
Other
channels.
things going on. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, just a quick question when you say the list. Now, is this a list that you're generating as a result of batch leads, or is this like some external list you're purchasing?
Yeah, we generate our own list. We don't purchase them. You know, I mean, I hear all kinds of stories. This company's great, that one. I don't know. You know, if we'll pull the list, and if it doesn't work, we got nobody to blame but ourselves. You know, plus we know like maybe there's something happening that this list isn't producing. Let's, you know, try something else, or let's stack something else on that, you know. And sometimes we incorporate driving for dollars with that, with our stack, and you know, as we're, you know, gathering data, you know, and so the more filters you have where, you know, you stack it, you know, the more motivation, the better results, I think.
By the way, Zach does live by himself. Every time I
That's good to know.
call, he sleeps with it.
Thank you.
He must do other things with it.
Right. Yeah, they don't leave without the
John
sun.
a little longer.
Yeah.
John's a night person, just so you know that. So he works till like 2 in the morning, and then he sleeps in, and
John
then
and Tom will get along great.
Yeah.
Come on the nominator.
Me.
That's not totally.
Are you a night owl, like Tom? Night owl?
There's something.
I wake up at 6
Morning,
p.m.
morning,
Okay,
morning.
Morning. Yeah, well, it's kind of half and half on that. Once again, question.
Yeah, so just circling back to the letter campaign, each letter is in succession to the other. So the first one might say, hey, are you interested? Or are they all saying the same thing?
They're
No,
all
there's-
Tom's letters. So if you're going to use letters, use Tom's.
That's the thing, you all have the same power.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Right.
not reinventing
Everybody's
the
trying
wheel.
to reinvent the wheel,
The
just
same
do it.
thing, Godfrey was like, this postcard, we just changed the phone number on the
Said-
postcard.
you said, I didn't have time to reinvent the wheel. The man was managing a restaurant.
In your manuals, you have the information, how to get the list, how to MLS, how to do everything. You
Right.
just literally need to
And then send it out, like you
and
said.
send it out.
Yeah.
That's why I said, it's like cooking, just follow the recipe.
Do everything when he tells you what,
Keep it
what
simple.
he's doing. I'm telling you, it works. You just have to do it and take action. It does.
I haven't actually held anything back. The only thing I cannot figure out how to make happen is I can't make my kid grow arms and legs and implement itself. I'm serious. So if there's a secret sauce, it's you. And it's you, and it's you, and it's you, and it's you, right? Everybody is, it needs you to make it happen. So make it happen.
And you don't need a fancy this and that and
You're
then
five.
let's check
Three,
that.
four,
No,
five.
literally open the book, get the postcard with your name, mail it, and then mail it again and mail it again, and it will call. They will call, but don't overcomplicate things. Don't say, oh, I need to get the best call center. I need to get. I have students that will take 4 months to design a postcard.
Yeah.
No, why are you wasting time? Send it out. They have deals on being close on ugly postcards, on basic yellow letters, on fancy yellow. But the point, and your job, if you choose to accept it, is print them, and mail them.
Yes, so remember, done is the enemy of perfect.
Right.
Yes.
Question number 3, then it's 4, then it's 5.
Okay, question number 3. I don't need to drill down in the weeds, but you mentioned the example of you only got one more letter to receive, and it turned into a deal. How often does
Well, it
that?
wasn't a deal, but it was a potential. They were at that point we converted them, right?
So number one, how often does that happen? And number 2, when that does happen, if it's not that smooth, how do you navigate it to turn it into a deal, or ask them, well, who do you know?
Yeah. So
Five.
I don't know how often that happens. You know, probably they don't even respond more times than
Doesn't
not.
matter how
you
often
know.
it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right, unrelentless. Make it just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So then how do you know?
So, I mean, once they say, hey, we're looking to sell, it's like any other deal. You know, have the conversation. How can we help you? You know, what are you looking to do? You know, create win-win, you know, and just proceed that way.
As far as pulling somebody they know out of,
Oh, you mean, so,
because he said, I'm sorry,
well,
crossed you out last
we
time."
always, I'm sorry, Dan. I always ask, like, you know, when they call in, hey, they're interested in selling or they're not interested in selling, you know. Typically, if you work with somebody and you can help them and they have somebody else that they know, they're going to refer you, you know. But if they say, no, I'm not interested, I'm like, hey, do you know anybody else? We always ask the question, you know.
That's already part of it, okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, we kind of incorporate that in.
Question 3 is down here somewhere. Stan.
Stanley.
Do you ever skip trace and call first before you send out your letters, or do you just send them out?
We send them out, you know. We just, the letter, if we're doing letters, we'll send them right out. My son will skip trace.
We do driving for dollars. If we find an address, we will skip trace and call it.
Okay.
Because I send everything to my son Zach, and that's what he does. He'll get me all the numbers and.
Typically, when you pull the list, you have all that information, so we don't really need to skip trace that, you know. But driving for dollars, you know, you have this address. We'll skip trace it to see what other addresses are, you know, affiliated with that address, and you know, move that way. But we try not to do, like, the details will bog you down. You know, it just slows the race. So, you know, if you come to a dead end, then maybe, you know, and it's good property, you know, you dig a little bit deeper till you get, you know, the answer you need. So yeah.
When you send out your letters, do you put your own address on it?
We do.
I don't know if you'd be about.
We've had people show up, and so we have gotten a return, but not a return because it was a bad address. It was just another disgruntled person that, you know. So Zach said, because it showed up in his mailbox, and he's like, hey, I got some hate mail. You know, it's kind of weird. They showed up at the house, and I said, well, you can fix that. Tom uses, you know, the P.O. box.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yes.
UPS store gives you a real address.
Yeah,
I would personally recommend.
I'm happy to have you all over the house, But, you know, my wife sleeps there, my children play. I don't need the, you know, random disgruntled seller. You guys are welcome, random disgruntled seller.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're sending out, you either have Facebook or you have mailers and stuff like that. Do you always use the same phone number, or do you use
We have
your
different-
Facebook ads? Then you do that. You use one phone number and then use a different phone number so you can keep track of your.
Yeah. Yep, we have a different phone number for each campaign. So direct mail, you know, direct mail is kind of more lumped into. It could be postcard, could be whatever, but we know it's a direct mail campaign. So, and typically we know whether we send a postcard or a letter, so we can track it that way. So we have a number for that. We have an 800 number that we'll put on like signs that go on properties. We're going to label the car now, the car that we put the bandit signs in. It'll be a different number than our bandit signs, but it'll be the company number.
The other part is a person that I know that is sending out, they do their hand letters, and they don't want, they turn their stamps just a little crooked, just to make it so it looks like it's a real person instead of putting on the stamps nice and straight, because it looks like it's coming from a mailer thing. So maybe your mother.
We do colored envelopes.
Oh, that helps too. That helps too.
And she thinks they're going on straight, but they're really not. So.
It happens naturally.
Right.
All right.
With the, just real quick,
Yep,
I'm sorry.
go for
With the letters, are you also reaching out and calling those people as well? Or are you just sending the postcards or the letters and letting it lie and repeating that, you know, 5 times? Or are you calling and reaching out to those people as well?
No, we wait for them to call us
You do
back
one
on the
or
letters,
other. You
yeah.
don't call them or send them.
We were running some cold calling campaigns for a little bit, you know, and I mean, I don't personally like that. I mean, there's companies and you know, guys that we know that that's all they do is cold call, all they do is text messaging, you know, we just kind of like, you know, what we're doing right now, so we stick with that.
You'll find your groove, you'll find your niche. Good work, Campbell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the career. Thanks.
Thank you.